Hi everybody, welcome to the premiere episode of the DC Gaming channel. This channel is going to be dedicated to all things gaming, mostly classic gaming, with a little bit of contemporary gaming mixed in as well. So this video, to kick things off, is going to be one of my favorite games that I play. I play it almost on a daily basis, despite it being a very, very short game, and that is going to be Contra for the NES. So when I play this game, I like to throw in different scenarios, try and do it with just one gun, no death runs, speed runs, things like that. So with that said, this channel is going to have a bunch of different games on it. I will focus on a bunch of them at a time rather than really spread out. I will always take suggestions if there's anything you think that I should play and, comment on, things like that. Otherwise, it's just sort of a more, fun or less serious channel than my Dungeon Boss channel, just for an outlet for me to put some other gaming videos online besides just my Dungeon Boss channel. So with that said, hopefully you enjoy it. If you have any requests for any specific games or anything like that, just feel free to leave me a note in the comments and we'll definitely look at it. Thanks. Alrighty, here we go. Contra for the NES. First stage, you can usually just kind of speed run through this as long as you keep shooting. My turbo controller will basically make sure that I kill everything that moves. Make sure you jump early for the bridges so you don't fall down. If you delay just a little bit, you will miss it on probably like the second jump. So just takes a little bit of practice, but it doesn't really hurt if you fall down. The biggest issue if you fall is it's a little tougher to get that spread. So, in the interest of sort of walkthrough, I'll take this a little bit slower than what I normally do. Otherwise, I usually just burn right through this, as you can see I'm doing here. The first place that I actually stop, usually, is right up here on this first jump here. Because this lower orb there, or the power-up, is a laser, and I always want to make sure I don't accidentally get a laser, unless I'm playing one of my laser runs. I definitely don't want that. This is the other place that I'll slow down and just kill these guys. There is a speedrun trick where you can run through there and run straight up to the wall and kill it. But one of those red blobs tends to hit you more often than not. It takes a little bit of luck involved, so I usually just slow play this one. Stand on this edge here and you can hit those things as long as you stay back far enough to not get hit. Then you can just run up and hit this. So pretty easy. Most people, like I said, can get through this, provided you have anything other than the regular gun. If you have just the regular gun, it can be a little bit tougher. So even if you had rapid fire, it does reset itself when you enter base number 1. So don't kill this too fast. Wait for that guy to come out, and you can get your rapid fire back. There's actually a neat little trick in both of the base levels that allows you to shoot a little bit faster, if only for this level. You'll see that when we get to the rolling barrels. If you are hitting the button really quickly, or if you have a turbo controller like myself, or a turbo-enabled controller, you'll see on this next room here how it picks up speed when you shoot these rolling barrels. So notice how it's a little bit faster. It's a little bit easier to see the speed increase when we get to base 2. It actually almost goes into like hyperspeed. Now as far as where to stand on these here, I've done the stage so many times that I just have it down to a rhythm, and I know when they're going to be shooting. It takes a little practice, but there's no real trick to it other than practice. As far as this boss goes, just save the middle thing for the end. Take out those gun turrets. I tend to slow down my rate of fire for this one here so I don't have to move. Because if I shoot slower, the spread usually works better, but it's a little safer to move sometimes anyways too, because you saw the one orb got a little bit close to me. So for those that don't use the Konami cheat or didn't know about it when they were a kid, basically this is the first stage where it gets a little trickier, because as far as Nintendo goes, Nintendo's largely side-scrolling, and this is one of the first, what's the only level in this game that has vertical scrolling. So it's a big change for a lot of people. Just keep shooting and keep jumping, it's usually not that bad. Part of the strategy with this level though is you do have to know where things are going to appear. Like that, I missed my body armor, but that's because I was too busy talking. So it's not a hard level by any means. I rarely ever die on this level. Even when I'm doing my speed runs. When I do speed runs, I just kind of burn right through it and have my own little method to my madness. So you can see when you slow down, it actually gives enemies a little chance to catch up. Then you start seeing bullets where I normally wouldn't see them. Or like that guy who's jumping when you don't expect him. So as long as you keep shooting and always aiming upwards, you're going to get pretty far in this level. So the boss is a pretty easy boss. You just have to watch the one little fireball from the right side. Sometimes you run under it, sometimes you have to jump over it. It really depends on you know, how far away you are. And then there's a nice little dead zone right here where you can't get hit, but you can still shoot the boss. So super easy boss, you just have to be aware of your surroundings. Alright, base number 2. Notice how I hit that barrel and it sped up my gun just a little bit. That's what I was talking about before. So it's a little bit more noticeable here in base number 2. As far as speed runs go, there's no real quick way to do this room, but it's not really a big deal. I said a lot of this is just memory. I play this game probably about every day. I pretty much, it's one of my nightly routines after work. It's just a good way to wind down. So I kind of know where everything is. And plus I really enjoy it. It's not like I don't like playing it. If I didn't like playing it, I wouldn't play it. Wait just long enough here to get the extra rapid fire. It doesn't really do anything. I already had rapid fire, plus I had the extra speed. And plus on this one here, I'll get into hyper speed again too. So notice how awesome that is. Should note though, if you take your hand off of the auto fire though, it will reset that back to its normal non-hyper speed. So at this point, because I have the turbo, I like to keep it on. That helps with these last 2 stages here. Especially that last one where you have to jump and shoot. So for this next boss here, some people focus on the actual gun turrets. Some people, or not the gun turrets, but the little focus points. I like to focus more on the ads that show up because they're the ones that are actually going to kill you. So I like to just take those guys out, and then I can usually kill this before the second round comes up. And then from here, it's just this is probably, I guess, other than the last boss, this is probably technically the hardest boss because there's so much stuff going on here. My suggestion is just to watch the little blue orbs. If you're using spread, you're going to hit that thing almost no matter where you're standing. So avoid getting hit and just slow play it, and you'll beat it in no time. If you're trying to do a speed run, watch some of the tool-assisted guides to see what they do. It'll give you some overall strategy in terms of doing it, but the tool runs require a ton of precision, and it's not realistic either. Like if you watch the tool run do this level, it's insane. So the worst thing about this particular level, we actually transition into the second half of the game now, and you're going to start getting guys running in from behind, which is super annoying because they'll run up behind and just start shooting at you. And occasionally you get to a point where it's like you can't stay standing because the guy in front of you will shoot. You can't duck because someone's running behind you, and you'll run into them. And you run into kind of a Kobayashi Maru of Contra here, where you can't stay still, you can't move, you can't do anything, because every which way you go, you're going to get hit. Fun fact, this little stage clearing bomb, I guess you would call it, is only available on this level. I have not seen it anywhere else in any other stage, which is kind of interesting. These guys here are a pain to kill if you don't have the spread, but with spread you can just run up to it and kill it even before it shoots. If you don't have the spread, you have to back up all the way to the wall and shoot as fast as you can. If you don't have a quick button mashing skill, you're going to be finding yourself hard to beat it, but you do have to go all the way back here and turn. Otherwise, it will hit you. So if you go all the way back far enough, you can avoid the gunfire, but you have to be able to shoot really, really quickly. That's where your turbo controller is going to come in handy. So the stage here is probably the hardest part of this level. When I'm doing speed runs, the stage is usually the first stage where I die like that, just kind of a random thing. It's like you jumped and they shot just as I jumped, which is unfortunate because I can't show you how fast this boss is. This is it's a 2-second boss if you have the spread. So now I have to wait essentially until like level 7 to get my spread back. So shoot up for a little bit and then just start taking out these guys here. So it's easy enough to do with the regular gun. Like I said, it's a 2-second boss with the spread. You just jump and jump again and he's dead. Stage 6 probably has probably the hardest boss in the game, in my opinion, for those that are unaware of it, or, you know, it depends on your opinion on the final boss. The final boss isn't hard per se, it's just more of a nuisance, whereas this one here, for new players, it's just flat out hard. I generally, didn't see that coming. I generally don't like the machine gun because it's, when I use this turbo controller, it's actually like the slowest weapon. If you're quick, you can make this without getting hit, but sometimes it's better just to be slow about it. Body armor is super critical for this next phase because of all the horizontal flamethrowers. It's just a pain in the ass to navigate through here. You can do it easy enough, but I would assume just speed run through it. Even if you run as fast as you can, the body armor wears off right before you can make this jump here, so you will get hit by that flamethrower if you try to jump. Now this boss, what makes this boss so difficult is the fact that as far as bosses go, this is the first one that really gets up close and in your face. He will just steamroll over you if you let him. So what a lot of first timers don't realize is that, one, he can be jumped over, which is a critical part. You have to be able to jump over him. And then two, they don't realize his attack mechanism. He's going to throw these little discs on the ground that you have to jump over. He will throw one of them, two of them, or three of them. The trick is, if he throws one, you can jump over it. If he throws two, you can jump 2 times in quick succession to get over both of them in a row. If he throws 3, you'll jump once, jump twice, and then you'll get hit by the third one before you can jump a third time. So the trick is, whenever he throws those, is to always pretend like you're jumping over 2 of them. That way, see, I just jumped over 2. I was able to get another jump in there if I really needed to. So, jumps there. So just to put that out there. So always pretend like you're jumping over 2 of them. And then just fire away when you get a chance here. So he's only throwing 1. There's another one. He hasn't done a 3-banger yet, but that's what I'm waiting to show here. There's 2. Notice how I jump over 2 of them again. There's the third. See how I jumped over the third one then? That's what I was trying to show. So now, we just take it on. Super annoying how he just sits there and jumps. Makes the spread much more beneficial. So the hangar is probably the longest actual stage. It's not any more difficult, but there's a lot more obstacles. Like if this here, I could have ran, but I would have eventually gotten hit by that spike trap. So depending on your luck, sometimes you could run right through it. Other times you get hit by it. So I use the flamethrower for now until I get my spread back, which will be about halfway through the level. Or until I die. I don't anticipate dying, but I also died twice already playing. But when I do commentary, it's a lot easier to die because you're not in hyper focus, as I like to call it. So I'll just slow play this here, wait for it to come down one more time. Give myself some body armor, and then I can just burn through the next little area. So it's important that you stay on this thing and not fall off it, because you want to be able to get up onto this upper level here. But in doing so, it's also kind of a pain to get that spread. You have to be aware that it was coming. If you hesitate too long, you will miss that spread, I can guarantee it. So anytime I'm up there, I know the spread is coming, but most days I already have the spread at that point. So now this one here, most people stumble when they get to this one, because this is the only unique spike trap mechanic, because they're like, well, how do I get through there? And then they figure they can actually get through it, and they go like this, and it's like boom, boom, get here, and then this wall comes up, and they're like, oh, and then they die. But what they don't realize, you can just go back and forth here. So shoot once. So even if you have no decent weapon, just take your time, and just, you know, watch your back, that's all. This is probably the hardest part of the stage, to be honest, because guys come just out of nowhere. So this here is actually, because it's the longest and probably most difficult stage, maybe not most difficult stage, but it's the longest stage, the boss is actually super easy. So this is basically, I would say, well, stage 5 is probably a 2-second boss. This is probably a 1 1/4 second boss. So we just got to get to it. There's a couple of little guys. Just run right up to it with spread. Done. If you let any of those things start shooting, then it's not so easy. But if you have the spread, a 1.5 seconds and it's done. So power-ups on stage 8. There is 2 of them to start with. One is a machine gun. More importantly is the body armor. Let the other one go so you don't accidentally get it. I like to jump when doing this. It seems to hit more. And then if you want to speed run while you still got body armor, you can. In the interest of completion, I'll take this a little bit more cautiously and shoot this stuff. There's one more power-up. This one is a spread. You will not get another shot at it. So if you die after this point, it's kind of a too bad, so sad. So spread obviously works the best, and in addition to spread, just running, you know, outrun those stupid little shock things, and then they can't hurt you if you outrun them. And then just, you know, play smart and don't jump in holes. So right up here is the boss. So I'm going to kill these guys. There's one more on the ground. So the boss has 4 little adds that he can spawn, and then a primary heart. So if you're running up against it and you want to shoot it like at an angle, that's the best way to kill the heart, but you cannot duck under the adds that come from the top. So if you're doing a speed run, you do kind of have to just run in there and try and get shit done. Otherwise, it's best to hang back a little bit so you can jump over those guys. If you just do this here, you'll be able to kill the bottom things without any problem. And that gives you enough time to watch the top to jump over them like that. Because they're easy enough to dodge if you see them coming. If you're way up close and personal, you sometimes can't see it, but this is how you speed run it, like this here, and you just pound away at it. So, by no means a perfect run, but, you know, still got through without having to continue, which is more than most people can say. So as we move forward with more episodes of Contra, we'll focus more on the different guns and talk about those a little bit more. But hopefully this one here was just a nice little walkthrough for you, so you can learn some tips and tricks about the actual game itself. Maybe if you struggle to actually get through it without the cheat. That's actually how I started playing. I just wanted to beat it without the Konami cheat. So I started by playing with the Konami cheat, learns the ins and outs. And then all of a sudden I realized that I wasn't needing 30 lives at all. And then I started playing it without that, and then I started just doing speed runs and no death runs, and then some more whimsical stuff like only using the flamethrower, only using the laser, things like that. So Hopefully this was somewhat informative for you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them below. If you have any requests for any other Nintendo games, I would be happy to demo them and give my input. Otherwise, you can look forward to some of my other favorite games in the future. And I guess that's all I got for you right now, so thanks for watching.